Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another, I guess I could say another season of Let's Talk. We are so excited to be able to come and really dig into some topics. Our wonderful and amazing host, Dr. Wilson, is joining us again, and we're really excited about her. We're going to go ahead on and bring her in and just let her greet everyone because we know that we've been out. So the holidays called us, and then we were just kind of making sure that we were ready to start this month. So Dr. Wilson, how have you been doing?
I've been doing amazing. I've been really busy, and I'm coming up with some topics for Let's Talk that I hope you guys will enjoy. But it's been a blessing. It really has. I can't complain. Yeah.
Awesome. So, Dr. Wilson, you know what I do. I'm gonna simply open up. I'm gonna say a word of prayer, and then I'm gonna turn it over to you and get my pen and paper so I can start taking my notes. Because I'm excited about the theme that St. Paul has this year that God gave Bishop Guns, living an empowered life. And then I know that you're gonna talk about that, and we're gonna all work together to ensure that our partners, both locally and globally, will really begin to live that empowered life out in every area of their lives. So come on, let's pray. Father, we thank you and we bless you for this time on tonight. We thank you for Dr. Wilson, God, who is giving her knowledge and her wisdom so that all of us may live the life, God, that you have ordained for us. Bless our time now in Jesus' name. Amen. So, Dr. Wilson, I'm going to go ahead and move out the way, and I'm going to turn it over to you and let you do your thing. God bless you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm so excited to be back, and thank you for having me back this year. I'm so excited. And when he told me about the theme, I was like, yes, I'm going to be right in line with that. Now, I'm not going to preach like Bishop Gunn. I can't do it like him, but I'm going to come at talk about empowerment from a mental health perspective. And I hope that you enjoy it. I do have a PowerPoint for you because I know some of us are visual. I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to go ahead and kick this. Okay. I hope everybody can see this. Okay. All right. So living an empowered life, and this is about finding strength within yourself. And this goes with everyone. And at the end, I'm going to talk about how to empower your children as well. So if you have children, nieces and nephews, godchildren, how to be able to empower them as well. Because if our youth is our future, and if we don't empower them, we're going to have that generational curse that we keep talking about just keep recycling itself. And so we're going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to talk about what an empowered life is. I love this topic. So living an empowered life means living life for yourself. And that means being true to yourself, no matter how hard it might be. That means we have to stop and really do a deep dive into what is going on with us and being, true. Sometimes we got to take the mask off and say, you know what, I've been faking it for so long. I can't fake it any longer. I need to get to the bottom of these things, get some things healed up so that I can live an empowered life. You want to love yourself wholeheartedly and be confident enough in yourself and in your life to root others along on the way. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. It's also about being bold and not holding back, because a lot of times we have so many blocks. We're so busy thinking about what people are going to say, what people are going to think, about my own fear. God said he didn't give us the spirit of fear. And we have so many blocks that we hold ourselves back. You ever known anybody to kind of dim their light, or what we may call dumb themselves down so that they can fit in? But nobody's dumbing themselves down to fit in with me. So that is what we're talking about. Know anybody like that? Yourself, other people, that's what I'm talking about. Not holding yourself back. So how to live an empowered life? When you imagine your future, what do you see? Take a minute and just think about that. Write that question down and think about it later on. Is it uncertain, or is it a vision of inclusive of love, wealth, and happiness? Sometimes it'd be difficult to look back on your life and take responsibility for it all, or even the failures. But it's the honest thing to do because, without failures, we wouldn't know where to grow. And that helps us with our decision making. And I know it's kind of, weird. Nobody, sometimes we get it twisted and think, oh my God, if I fail, that makes me a failure. No, it doesn't. It makes you a chance taker. You took a chance. It didn't look well, but now I'm going to look at that and say, well, what can I do different? What can I do better? Because I guarantee you, every invention out here did not come out just 100% non-flaw the first time it came out, but they kept working at it. So in school, you learn the lessons and then you take the test. However, in life, you take the test and then you learn the lesson. I wouldn't know if it's going to turn out good, bad, or indifferent if I don't ever take a chance in life. I can't worry about if I'm going to fail at it all the time, because then I will never take that step. It'll be like, yes, but, what if it don't, if, well, what if it doesn't look right? What if it don't come out right? What if I get hurt? What if and so we'll what if ourselves to death and we'll worry about it. And then next thing I know, the next year, I'm still in the same spot doing the same thing. We can't be great at all subjects. And sometimes we may need that extra support around an area and that's the smart thing to do. There was an African proverb that says, it's a wise man that use how to translate it. It's a wise man that uses a crutch when they break their foot. So if we need that cast or we need that crutch to help us just to get through, get that support, because sometimes we're the support person and don't get supported. I may have a PhD, but I can't fix anybody's car. But I do know some people who are very proficient and they're excellent at it. And so we can't all be great at all the subjects, but sometimes we may need that extra support. I have to take it to a good mechanic and say, oh, you know what? You're so good. You support me in making sure that my car gets around and get around well. The secret to living an empowered life is to be able to take in all the learnings that you learn in life and not allowing them to destroy your self-esteem and confidence. You want to be like, say, oh, you know what? I took a chance. It may not work the way I wanted to, but what can I do better? Or what do I need to throw out? Or what do I need to incorporate? You may want to start loving yourself first. So that just because you're not so good at something and you got to build on something, that, it does not break down my confidence. It gives me that confidence and say, you know what, let me get that I can attitude. But I got to love myself first and foremost. Then taking ownership of my life and begin to start designing it. What do you want your life to look like? What does God have designed in your life? And being able to have, if I can think about it, I can act on it. And what you need to live an empowered life is already inside you. You don't have to seek permission or external validation from other people to live fiercely and in alignment with your own values and belief system. I remember when I joined the Navy, my mother, my grandmother, and my aunts, I had three of them. They all was like, what? You did what? But it was just the right thing for me to do. They were like, that's for men. You're going to get hurt. You're not, blah, blah, blah. You weren't even in an ROTC. You too girly girl, because I was a cheerleader. And nobody would ever thought like, what in the world? And I said, well, it makes sense to me. Because actually I was taking my brother to join the Navy. And when I was talking to the recruiter, it just kind of made sense to me, and everything lined up the way it's supposed to, even to the point where I'm at now. And so I didn't seek, their validation, and I didn't really listen to them, and I went on and enlist into the military. It's not that you don't have the talent to live an empowered life, but instead it's your willingness to lean into your life. You have to have a willingness, even to overcome hurdles in your life to be able to have the life that you want to live. You want to live fiercely. We're gonna hear that term a lot. Living fiercely, because you want to challenge yourself to live your life to the fullest. Your own real barrier really is your own self doubt. When we start doubting ourselves or putting ourselves down, we got to be real careful what labels that we put on ourselves. That is our own barrier. And you know what? You're your own competition. If you look in the mirror, that's the only competition you have. So when you start taking responsibility, and you'll begin to see the fear of inadequacy begins to fade with each experience. Because as I keep trying and trying, I keep saying, you know, I'm getting really good at this. I don't know anybody that can pick up a book the first time and just start reading. You know, we call them what, chapter books, right? I don't know. First, we had to learn the letters, and then, but it wasn't perfect. But we kept at it and kept at it um, until we got very proficient at it. One of the biggest breakthroughs is to realize that living an empowered life is a benefit to you in the world. You never know who's watching you. It don't necessarily have to be your child, your niece, your godchildren. It could be the neighbor, the little neighbor across the street. It could be the person on your job. You never know who's watching you. It can even be your supervisor. You never know. You never know who you're benefiting and who you're blessing. Playing small is no way to live. It requires you to suffocate your innate greatness. You want to fiercely love life and live it with your heart, your whole heart. So, a lot of times we love to see entertainers and people who are famous because they don't suffocate their greatness. They put it out there for everybody to see, and we just like, wow, look at what they're doing. It could be like the athletes now. You have the NFL players, but these are people that are top of the game, but they did not suffocate their greatness. They worked at it. Unfortunately, we don't get to see all the hard work it took to get there. But the reason why we know about these particular people is because they put themselves out there. They worked hard at whatever that is they are doing, so that we get a chance to see, wow, look how great they are. Look how great they are on the tennis court, or look how great they are in gymnastics. Um, and so, but they put themselves out there for us to see that, and they don't suffocate their greatness. Now, even though they may be scrutinized, sometimes, but they at least I'm like, well, the people who are scrutinizing them, what are they doing? You want to be able to care deeply, care for yourself and then others in that order. Care for yourself first and then others. Sometimes we do things backwards. We're caring for others, and then by the time we get to ourselves, we're exhausted. So you must begin to work on yourself, creating love and compassion for yourself. And when you care for yourself, you will have that excess that overflows into other areas in your life. So now, instead of me trying to give from an empty vessel, I have it flowing out. And so it makes it easier to care for others. That excess love and compassion will influence how you network and support and care, how your network support and care for you, because you also want to be open to be support, because there's great for you to be the support person, but every support person needs that support as well. Eventually, living fully and caring will naturally create a more empowered self, as well as a collective of individuals who cares immensely about one another. We want to draw in like-minded people. So many times I've heard women that come to my office for counseling is that, man, I put in my all for my friends and my family, and I don't get that in return. And so sometimes we have to be able to say, I got to find people who are like-minded, or I have to be open to for people to support me And I need to find those people who are going to be in my support system. Accepting reality. So, one of realities is loss and betrayal will occur in your life, and you may experience some unforgivable acts. But to truly accept reality as it is, you must be unwaveringly honest with yourself. You want to work from the inside out model to learn acceptance. And sometimes we have to learn forgiveness, and that's a big thing, so that I can be able to be free, and I can be free to go on in my life and doing great things. Look where you're at now with your life. Where do you want to go? How will you get there? And who can help you get there? If there's somebody that has been doing it for a while, when I was first green in the counseling field, well, my mentor was like invaluable to me, because he was already doing what I want to do. And I was like a sponge. I was writing fast. I'm surprised that it was smoke coming out of my pen. I was writing so fast because all the knowledge that he bestowed on me. Accepting reality gives you the power to change it. It gives you the ability to tell a different story. Within reality, forgiveness and wisdom do coexist. I'm going to just stop right there. Within reality, forgiveness and wisdom do coexist. You want to choose optimism. Now, have you tried positive thinking and found that it's super tough? Because we are in a negative based society. And so it is hard to kind of see what the positive is. Did you know that your thought patterns are habits? And so sometimes, like, man, I've been like this for so long, I can't change that. I can't change how I see things. Well, that's not true because they are habits. So it can be a hard truth to bear, but you can change how you think. Nobody can control how you think, what to think, and how often to think it. So just like it takes time and training to have solid abs or have great arm muscles and all of that, it does take time and to practice to break mental habits. So you can choose whether you view a situation or a circumstance through a positive or negative lens. It's like, which one do you feed? Do you feed the negativity or do you feed the positivity? So the goal is to choose an optimistic approach to life while accepting these moments in life as positive or negative. Now, we don't live in a polyandrous world like everything is just coming up roses. And I know there are some situations that it's just like, it's just negative, Dr. Wilson. It's just truly negative. But sometimes it's like, you know what, but I survived it. It could be as simple as that, and I can look at both sides of the coin. Optimism encourages you to find the path toward growth instead of despair. So it helps you kind of rise above all the negativity, the circumstances, the bad habits. It helps you grow, or what we call post-traumatic growth. Whatever situation or whatever things that think it can hold me down, it allows me to be able to grow from it versus it just takes me out and I just feel like, okay, that's it. My life is always going to be like this. Optimism empowers you to live fiercely. And I say that word will come up again, with your whole heart. Determine boundaries. It's important that you set boundaries for yourself and how others interact with you. You absolutely need to know when to say no. The word no is a complete sentence. Now, if you're a grown adult, you're over the age of 18, you do not need to explain yourself further or make any excuses. It could simply not be your cup of tea or your vibe, and that's enough of an explanation. Finally, you want to value your time boundaries. Time is the only non renewable resource with no substitute. I cannot make up time. I cannot make up for time. So I don't know about you, but I am not guaranteed another life, year, or moment. Your courage to say no gives you the ability to control that resource. If I just don't have that time, or I can't put another thing on my plate, it is okay to say no. It really is. It is your time. Decide you want to feel empowered, and that's important. Empowerment by its very definition is the authority or power we give to something. So if we're providing power to external events, we often will feel helpless or in hopeless. So these are external events, or anything, people, situations that are outside of me. So me and my brother, we were both in the military at the same time. And one of the things that I wanted him to do was to go to school while he was on active duty. So I would be like, oh, Brad, get your degree. Go get your degree. Go sign up for class. They're paying, tuition assistance paying 100%. He said, oh, that sounds great. That's how awesome. I said, you definitely want to do that before you retire. So he will sign up for class, and then I'm on him again. Hey, did you sign up for your next semester? And he's like, I met this girl. And I said, well, what does that have to do with classes? Well, I can't take her out and be in class at the same time. So he majored in girlfriend. And so, but I wanted him to be in school so bad. I was feeling helpless, and I was feeling frustrated because I was helpless, because I wanted him to do what I wanted him to do, those misplaced expectations, right? And so I had to realize I had to step back, and I had to shift my attention to what I can control. And that's what I say, think, and do. We have to move that power and authority to ourselves, because as I'm trying to give my power to him, I'm losing power for myself. And so one of the things is I had to step back and say, wow, you know what? I'm working harder in his life than he is. And if that's not what he wants to do, I have to respect it. Now, respecting it doesn't mean I like it. It just means that I have to allow him to live his life the way he wants to live his life. And I had control over what I do and how I think. And so if I wanted to take some extra classes, which I did, you know, and that's what I had control over. So I had control over being able to, hey, I could have a boyfriend and be in class at the same time. And that's the definition of self-empowerment. I'm working on self, and that's what I have control over. So work on courageous self-trust. Maya Angelou said, courage is the most important of all the virtues. So without courage, you can't practice any other virtue consistently. You can practice any virtue erratically, but nothing consistently without courage. It takes courage to learn to trust yourself. Because if you can't trust your own boundaries, chances are nobody else will as well. So when you sit in a quiet place and breathe into your body, when you can feel when your head, heart, and gut are in alignment with a situation, and when your body is calm and settled, and you can feel that your spirit all is well in your soul, your empowered choices come from inside of you and fit with the kind of person you want to be. Now, sometimes people say, man, I can't sit in a quiet place. That's really hard. But again, it's about being able to keep practicing that. It may not happen in the beginning, but if you keep practicing that, eventually you can be able to do some meditation and be in prayer and be in alignment with your situation, mind, body, and spirit. And the more you work your courage muscle and learn to trust yourself, the better the process becomes. Let go of other people's opinion of you. And this is a big one, especially I hear a lot. So another way of thinking about this comes from Judy Ford. She says, your opinion of me is none of my business. If my focus is on my internal local of control, I am more concerned about my opinion of myself. So again, that internal local control is everything I have control over. That's me, myself, and I. My thoughts, my feelings, my actions, um, which I have the power to change, adjust, and to correct if I don't like it. And if they don't like it, because what they don't like today, 3 months from now, it'll be something different. I can't make everybody happy and I can't be what everybody wants me to be or meet everybody's expectations. When we decide to be empowered and trust ourselves, it's easier to let go of other people's opinions. The embrace wabi sabi. Now, if you never heard of this, it's a world view that embraces the idea that there is beauty in imperfection. So you may see some pictures of famous people that's like, hey, I took off all the makeup. Hey, here's my cellulite. Here's my cut, you know. And so it's saying that there's beauty in imperfection and that nothing and no one is perfect, and that it is through self-acceptance and the recognition that life is imperfect and impermanent. Nothing stays permanent. We all change, things change, people change, situations change, and we can let go of suffering when we can relax into the notion that we do not have to be perfect. We are set free. Who we are is a work in progress. When they say God's not through with me yet, have patience with me. is our only is our only job is to grow ourselves into a better version of ourselves continuously. As we learn and we transform, the end of the journey is joy. Okay? And that's also ironic because when we are in the stage of forgiveness, the last stage of forgiveness is joy. So let's talk about empowering our future generations because that is important. So empowerment means guiding your children in a manner that encourages their beliefs in their own ability and potential for growth. During their school year and when they move into adult life, children will need to rely on their inner strength and sense of self belief to meet and overcome difficulties. So you remember when you moved out of your parents' or for the, you remember, we had to learn how to start taking and making decisions for ourselves. Um, and what did I learn from my parents? And then what did I learn for myself to be able to overcome some difficulties? By understanding how you can empower your child, you will be building a strong foundation that will help them succeed as they tackle academic and personal challenges. So if they, you encourage them to, hey, you can do better on that task. Come on, let's see what we need to do. Come on, you can do better on the sports team. And so I'm empower them to make better, help them succeed. So, example of empowering children is, let's take Owen. He's age 5 and he lit up when his father told him that he was so creative and talented in his own painting class. It's almost as if you can literally see Owen looking more confident and stronger. That may be scribble scrabble to you, but for him, that is like, it's like he's doing his best work at age 5. So this is a great example of a child beginning to feel like a powerful creator. Now, an example of disempowerment. And so sometimes we well-intentioned parents sometimes will do the opposite. So let's take Olivia, age 8. She was dancing with friends and they were playing with her hula hoop in the park. So it was just a good old summer fun. And her mom, Jenny, told Olivia that she looked like she had 2 left feet when she was dancing. And Olivia cried because that hurt her feelings. So such words subtract versus add power. And some children, their love language is words of affirmation. And so if you're putting them down, we have to be careful with the labels that we put on our children. And this is from anybody, from teachers and parents. sibling. We have to be very careful of um, what we're telling our children, and what they're gonna say, oh, he's so bad and he's never gonna be any good. you know we're putting these labels on these children. So how can you empower your child? Is to listen to them. Hey, this is not like the past generation where we say, hey, be in a child's place where you sit and don't say anything, because a lot of us grew up and that's how we end up learning how to communicate. We just sit in silence and suffer, and we don't say anything because we was growing up to, hey, nobody really listened to me. They said you're being disrespectful if you're trying to tell them your feelings. And nowadays children are committing suicide, and it's increasing, and we're having 200, 300 calls a year almost, on the suicide hotline that's coming from children who are in middle school and high school. So we do want to sit there and listen to them. There's nothing more reassuring than having your views and feelings heard. You want to ask your child about their day and truly listen to what they have to say. You want to pick a time when you're not busy. Remove any distractions so that you can really hear your child and make them feel good. Like, wow, they're really putting aside some time to listen to me. Remove any distractions and really listen to what they have to say. Listen to any about any worries or any negative emotions, and then try to resist the urge to jump in and try to fix them. Let them talk and listen. A lot of parents, because I do see adolescents, and so a lot of parents say, wow, they just sit there and just talk and talk and talk. She was like, wow, they talked the whole hour. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, wow, they never do that for me. And I said, well, sometimes it's just about sitting there and having a person to just listen to them and not really say anything. If your child feels that they can talk to you about anything without flying off the handle or spinning into a sea of worry, then they tend to feel more supportive and their confidence will grow. Speak positively about them. Now, you never know when a child is listening, whether they're in the room or not. So you want to make it a mission to always speak positively about your child. Try not to label them. There's those labels again, as the messy one or the shy one or the bad one, or man, they're getting on my nerves, both when you're speaking to them and about them. If we're constantly telling our children that they're smart, they're capable, and determined, they will come to believe that, because again, those labels are very powerful. Even if they messed up, man, they didn't do it, well this quarter, but I can see what they're working on it. Of course, nobody is perfect, but if you praise your child for their effort, for their bravery, for their resiliency, hey, you know what? Even if they had a bad week in school, I'm gonna praise you for the fact that you still got up, put your clothes on, and went back to school. And then they will feel empowered to pick themselves back up whenever they stumble. And when they're grumpy or make mistakes, always let them know that you love them no matter what. You want to treasure the happy moments. So there's so many little moments and small achievements in our children's day-to-day life that are worth remembering and holding on to. So a nice way to do this is to start a family happiness jar. So it can be a family happiness jar, it could be a couple's happiness jar, it can be a me happiness jar. And so you want to find and decorate a large jar and fill it with little slips of paper. And each time that your child has a proud moment, each time that you have a proud moment, each time as a couple that you have a proud moment, um, at school, um, or just in life general, on a vacation, or just in your personal life, you want to be able to write it down, date it, and pop it in the jar. And you'll be surprised how many happy moments that we have in our lives, because it's so easy to look at what is negative that goes on. So I'm going to have a film. It's about 4 minutes long. So it's not going to take too long. Hope you enjoy it.
See, sometimes we can't say, I can do that. But what we can say, that it's possible.
Be clear in your mind in what you intend to achieve.
Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality.
People go through their lives without knowing what it is they want to do, what they want to accomplish.
Birds of a feather flock together. If you run around with losers, you will end up a loser. It's necessary that you get the losers out of your life if you want to live your dream.
So know what your intent, as the commander of your life, know what your intent is, and then fight with everything you've got.
For those of you that have experienced some hardships, don't give up on your dream. It's hard changing your life. It's not easy.
The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it.
Their rough times are going to come, but they have not come to stay. They have come to pass. It's very important for you to know that. Don't say I'm having a bad day. Say I'm having a character building day.
Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you got to be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody.
We all fall down in life. The question is, who gets back up? You go after and you give it all you have. If you lose, at least you try, man. The differential of somebody winning and losing has nothing to do with their genetics. It has nothing to do with their potential. It's their perseverance. You show up, then you have a chance. If you don't show up, the outcome's simple. No one in hell is going to call you an opportunity because you weren't present.
It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared.
I don't care if you don't have the money, you don't have the help, and you don't have the family for it, and you don't have the background for it, and you don't have the friends for it. Don't you give up on your dream. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
If you never say good enough today, I promise you tomorrow will always be enough. Whenever good enough isn't enough, you can bet tomorrow you'll have enough.
It may take you twice as long. You may have to take courses and classes. You might not read as fast. You might not move as quick. You might not have as much. But don't you quit.
If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it, if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famish or gulf, sickness or pain or body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim, you besiege and beset it with the help of God, you'll get it. It's not over until I win.
So thank you so much for allowing me to present this. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And okay.
Wow. Wow. That was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I wrote wrote some things down. You know, the first powerful thing that you said that jumped out at me is when you imagine your future, what do you see? What do you see? I think that's really important for people to do, is to reflect on not so much their past, but reflect on the future.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us reflect on the past, and we unearth the failures and the pain and the disappointment of our past. But from a believer standpoint, thank God that my past didn't take me out, right? And I'm
Absolutely.
sitting here today. So because I'm sitting here today, where do I see myself in 5,
Absolutely.
10, 20
Because
years?
if you're here today, you have survived all of that to
Absolutely.
get you to
Absolutely.
where you're at.
Absolutely. And then the other thing is when you talked about
Hmm.
caring for others, but make sure that you care for yourself. I think in a lot of times we and people put guilt on them if I don't take care of someone else. So I neglect myself because I don't want to feel guilty. I think that the challenge is if that person rebounds and become healthy, or even, in some cases transition, you've let yourself go so long. Now you're having to deal with some things that have come out of that season for you. And
Hmm.
if you're not careful, even then you will feel guilty that you neglected yourself, that you
Oh,
didn't do the things
absolutely.
to take
And
care
I
of
call it
yourself.
like the nurses effect. No dink on nurses, but you take care of a person so much. And just like a nurse, the patient don't take care of the nurse. The
Yeah,
nurse takes care of the patient. So there's no patient out there saying, "Oh, let me go get your meal or let me check your blood pressure."
right.
And so it becomes one way. So then when that person is well, it's just like a patient. Well, we're good now. And so they discharge out of the hospital. Well, that leaves, but that's the nurse's job.
Yeah,
But sometimes we put ourselves into that position where we're taking care of everybody, and then they're good and they go on in their life and they're great. And you, like you said, I'm sitting here, I have neglected myself so much that I don't even know where to start. And
right.
I'm watching people being better than I am, and they're living their best life. And I'm sitting here, in a puddle or a
Yeah,
shell of myself.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, listen, everyone. I want to encourage everyone to do this because I mean this teaching tonight was amazing, and I think so many people need to hear it. I want to challenge everyone that's viewing on Facebook as well as YouTube to share this. Send it to someone you love, someone you care about, someone that you want to see live this empowered life. Send this to them, and then schedule times next month, because she's gonna be digging more and more on living this empowered life. So thank you, Dr. Wilson. Thank you. And everyone, if you want to reach out to Dr. Wilson, you can send me an email and I get it over to her. I broker the meeting time, and then moving forward, we'll definitely make sure that we have all of your information, Dr. Wilson, where people can reach you directly. But yeah, hey, it's time to live an empowered life, and
Absolutely.
I'm ready to live it. So thank you so much. There go my email on the screen. And listen, it's about being better. It's about being better, and it's about living an empowered life. God, we thank and we bless you for an amazing time on tonight. Now, God, as we transition with wisdom and knowledge. And we pray, God, that you will give us the ability to apply it to our everyday lives, because you have ordained and called us to live an empowered life. In Jesus' name, amen. God bless you. We love
Amen.
you. Go
Amen.
live that empowered life. Take care.